And now, the 113th episode of the Sawdust Nation podcast with your hosts, Nick from NPG Creations, myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC, with our special guest today, Building Jessie from Building Jessie on Instagram. What's going on, Building Jessie?
Not much. How are you guys?
Outstanding. What's going on in your shop up there? You're in what? Oregon?
No, I'm in Washington State.
Oh, Washington.
Close enough,
Yeah.
right?
Close.
Mostly you tell people like I live in Seattle because that's like the closest thing that anybody knows. Otherwise, you say Washington, they say, oh, Washington, D.C. I'm like, no.
Beautiful state, though.
So, yeah, I'm about 2 hours north from Seattle.
Okay. What do you got going on in that big shop of yours that we see on Instagram all the time?
Well, my shop's not actually that big, but I do whatever people ask me to do, basically. So I have tumblers that need to get done. I have a cabinet build I'm working on. I have a couple projects going with my kiddos.
Do you do this full time or do you have a day job?
No, I have a day job. I work in oral surgery.
Okay.
I work in people's mouths.
You're a doctor?
I'm not a doctor. I'm a surgical assistant.
Oh, okay. Dr. Jessie. Jessie, I have this thing going on back here. Where you take a look.
I mean, I
I'm
can
just playing.
look at it and maybe, give you a little bit of insight, but
Live on Sawdust Nation podcast, Nick is going to get an oral exam.
Give me the Novocaine. Hit me.
So with the cabinet, how big is that cabinet build?
It's about 4 feet. It's a record cabinet, so it's a 6-drawer cabinet. It'll hold records with like a little spacer in the drawer, in each drawer, so it can like hold them upright. But yeah, I had to kind of modify the plans that I got because the original plans weren't going to accommodate like their actual turntable, and she wanted, a cabinet that would fit the turntable with all the cabinets inside of it, or all of the records inside of it. So,
Ooh. Anything? Any special finish or any special woods you're using on that, or?
they want maple on top. So, I mean, it's 3/4 birch ply for the carcass. I'm thinking of doing some maple, like banding on it, or actually doing like a face frame on it instead of just, because I don't know. I just want to I always want it like better than what was given. The plans, honestly, the plans were from somebody on Etsy, I'm assuming, and it was called Woodworking for Dummies. Not like for dummies, but like FOUR dummies. And there were so many pocket holes in the plans, and I couldn't build it like that. So I've actually gotten to do some dados. I've gotten to kind of elevate it to an extent. So I feel like it's something that is like I've made that will actually last.
Okay. So I question about dados real quick. And I know that we all do dados and rabbits, but most of us use the table saw for it. Do you prefer the table saw or router table for that?
I actually got a dado blade for my table saw. So I've been doing the Diablo dado stack and doing dados that way. And it's not as scary as you would think. I mean, a lot of people I think are intimidated by it, but I was when I, first started, but it's really satisfying actually to like run that and like, slide your other piece in and you're like, oh, that's money.
When you start it up, I always kind of stand to the side a little bit and let it get up to speed, just to be sure, because that one time.
Did I tighten it down as much as I was supposed to? You know what I mean?
Well, what's even worse sometimes with like the dados is some arbors, like obviously, we get the right diameter, for the dado, but some arbors, they're not very long. Like they fit up to like a half inch before it starts to get a little sketchy on how many threads are on the actual arbor itself. And
what's the ruling on that?
I was just going to ask, yeah.
Do anybody know?
I don't think there's a ruling. I think it's a comfort level.
Don't ask me. I'm new to this.
I think, honestly, I need to have at least a couple, like 5 good turns on that and be able to see the end on the bolt itself before I actually trust it enough. I've maxed it out once and I was uncomfortable enough where I'm just going to do 2 passes when I need to. You use the router table, right? Nap?
Yeah. So I'm scared. Okay, so I'm one of those that's scared of the dado blade. I've used it a couple times for the couple boxes I've made, but I can only go a half inch and feel comfortable. Anything bigger than that, like there's not enough threads for me to feel comfortable starting up the table saw. It's just no.
I've heard people talk about doing it with router tables even scarier than doing it with like table saw.
I think so. I
Can
think so.
be.
It's slower too.
I know a lot of people are doing it.
It's slower. I think either way you do it, it's going to be dangerous. It depends, like any tool. As long as you're able to handle it and mind yourself while doing it, you can make it safe. It's preference too. I mean, like however Nat does it on the router table, we do it on table saw. He still gets the same result. So
you could also do it by hand. I'm just saying.
no.
just no.
Hammer and chisel, baby. There we go.
Victor has a chat. I've used the dado stack. I want to try the router table next. All right, so for those that do try router table, I suggest shallow passes. So that's where Nick, when he said it's slower, it's because you're not going to go full depth on a dado with a router bit unless you really want to chunk something up.
I've had router table issues back when I had a router table. That I was too deep, and that bit caught and tossed a piece of wood across the room. So
You definitely do that.
okay, so Jesse, quick question: any like close calls in the shop? What's your like closest call where you were like, "Whoa, I could have almost lost something or died"?
Or died? Oh god.
Well, I mean, like,
But did you
did you die?
But did you die? I didn't die. I think it gets really sketchy for me because I'm, a whopping like 5'3". So when I need to move like a slab, I have to get really creative. I have to have pivot points and just be really careful because I have definitely almost smooshed myself before. But tool wise, I was doing like, I got some silicone molds for some epoxy pour just to like play with like coasters and whatnot. And so I took them to my big drum sander. It's, a big jet drum sander. And I was, had gloves on and everything, but I was, trying to smooth out some edges and stuff. And that thing flew across my shop so hard. The epoxy didn't break, but I was like, it was about 2 inches from hitting my TV, which would have probably shattered. So that was probably, I was like, oh, okay, let's not do that again. That was probably my big one.
So I noticed on your reels and on your Instagram page, you have an Avid CNC. Is that's what you have, right? The 4x8, or is it the 5x10?
It's a 4x8. It's a
okay
extended gantry, so I can run the spindle and plasma both. I haven't played with the plasma a whole lot, which is kind of something else that's in the works right now that I'm excited about. But yeah.
So for the plasma, are you putting a water table underneath or down before?
When I got the Avid with my ex-husband, and it was kind of something that he had talked me into because he wanted the metal working side of stuff, and he was like, you can use it for your woodworking. We'll do the extended gantry. We'll get like the spindle. We'll have the plasma. Like we'll have both. But as soon as it was set up in the shop, he never touched it. I just kind of like completely took over it. So I have now, I guess I should say, the 4x8 water table, which is never been used because it's stinking heavy. It's really stinking heavy. Like it sits outside my shop, and I don't foresee myself like using it unless I get to a point where I'm making something really, really big. So I have a smaller 4x3 water table that is set up so I can kind of be like on the end of the machine. And I can almost just leave it there unless I'm going to, be like surfacing a 6-foot slab or an 8-foot slab or something like that. So,
who is that? Is that yours or mine?
Hang on.
Nap's got to go do dad's things.
That's mine. What do you have in the background? What are all those boozes?
It's all bourbon. I was rearranging my bourbon collection.
freaking child, I swear. He's out there freaking just...
Was he...
I'm like, okay, maybe, I was waiting to see if anybody heard him.
Was he spinning around on the ceiling fan? Or...
I don't know. Like, he might as well be. That's what the house looks like every time I come home.
I like how we heard him before you heard him. You're like, what is that?
Oh, no, I heard him. I was just hoping you all didn't hear him. I was like, I hear him in my headphones, and I'm like, oh, God, I hope that's not being picked up right now. And sure enough, yeah, you heard him. And I'm like, child of mine, please stop screaming. And he just goes, ah! I'm like, dude, come on.
He's cute, though.
But, so, I know, okay, so you're talking about the waterbed, metalwork, and stuff. You are working on something very interesting right now. Saw you started messing with a welder. What's going on with that? What got you there?
This is just like a, don't ever underestimate meeting people and talking to people about what you do. I'm very, I don't know. I'm not always great about putting myself out there because of my self-confidence in what I do, I guess. But occasionally I get to talking to people and realize like, oh, you actually do something really cool that I'm interested in too. And especially meeting people locally. I made a cool connection with somebody who has a metal shop in Bellingham, which is close to where I live. And I was like, I have done a little bit of welding in the past. I mean, you'd have to scroll really far back in my Instagram to get to that stuff. But I was like, I want to play and I want to do this. And it turns out he's moving out of state. So he's actually getting rid of some of his stuff. So he's like, well, show up to work and let's make something. I was like, well, let's make some coffee table legs, so it was kind of cool. It worked out. Like we went to a local metal shop or metal supplier, I guess. And I got to meet like the owner there, and he's like, this is Jessie. She might be coming in here. So it was like getting that kind of like, personal connection to people locally. And I got to play with the MIG welder on my table legs. And then I did play a little bit with the TIG welder. Highly recommend long sleeves because I burnt the crap out of my arms. It gets hot.
Okay. So then, I would have to say then, you've done a lot of stuff. You had a reel a little while back of you hanging a dry erase board, and it said business goals. So, you're into the woodworking, you got a huge CNC. You said, skip the small stuff. Let me get the big one. And then you started doing some welding. What are your business goals? Like, where do you see building Jessie?
That's a scary one to talk about. I would love to make this something that I could.
Now you're just showing off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And now you're just showing off, apparently.
I was going through your reels and I clicked on my own page. My bad.
Oh, I was like, that's not one of my audios.
No, that's a Nick.
That's mine. That's my last one. Or the one from last night.
Recorded himself on this podcast.
And no, to answer your question though, I mean, I would love to be able to do creative stuff full time. I'm not a fan of corporate America. That's just me. I want to be able to be around for my kids and all the things that they do. And I want to be able to create and find a way to make money doing that. So, but my long-term dream, I guess, has always been to do exactly what I'm doing right now, is like bringing that metal side of things into woodworking. There's something I love about like raw wood and metal together. So making furniture or, whatever that means. But it would be really cool for me to be a, start to finish shop where I'm not like, subcontracting stuff to other people to have this stuff done. It's like, oh, I can make those legs. I can weld them. I can finish them. I can do the top for it. I can do everything.
An all-around maker. I mean, I think that would be what all of our end goals would want. At least I'm sure I can speak for myself. I would like to do the same, like the metal legs you're talking about. Part of the reason why I want to learn how to do metalwork, because eventually when I have the shop that I want, I can make tables and stuff. Because start to finish is, I think, the best way to go about it. And it just saves you the hassle of having to shop around for someone else to make those other pieces you're looking for.
With that, I think the goal for all makers is to be able, if someone comes up to you and they say, hey, I want A, B, C, and D, you could be, yes, I can do it all. And not have to do, you could do metal, like vinyls. I want to get a vinyl machine up in here as well. That way I could do like cornhole vinyls and sell those and design those. And like, I think we're all trying to get to a point where basically we can just say yes to the job and complete it.
The one thing I did find frustrating is like, cause you look at like metal table bases and stuff like that, and you go on Etsy. And what I learned in the last week is that I don't know how these people are making any money. Cause I'm like, this is the cost of the material. This is the cost of the machine. Like, how are you, they're like, there's literally no way with the material you're using and selling those set of legs for $90 that you're making any money.
Well, they might be buying in bulk on the material end.
They could be.
Will they charge per pound, or how do they charge for metal?
I don't know, but I may have overbuilt my table legs like a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to hold tons.
You got like 6x6 or 8x8s.
Just freaking tubes.
Got tree trunks for.
I don't remember the thickness of the metal. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Wow.
But hell, I mean, it's still pretty cool though. I mean, you're dabbling in the metal side again, bringing it back.
How heavy is the table?
Is the table?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like,
how are you going to move it?
On top of it is going to be like air compared to the table legs.
That's great. This is all great, but like you're going to have to get a forklift to move the thing.
This is a coffee table, okay? We're not talking
yeah.
table. But I will overbuild a dining table for you anytime.
Okay. I put metal legs on my dining table. I got them off of the internet, and they were about 90. No, they were like $200, I think.
Yeah.
But they were, they were double. But I got them from an actual leg company in North or South Carolina. I can't remember. Like that's all they make is legs.
So I'd say the final question that I have, and maybe these guys got questions too. What got you what got you started? I know you said, how you got your CNC, but what got you into making things?
Buying a house in 2012 that, all we could afford at the time was a fixer-upper. So it started with demo and putting up, walls. And my dad helped a ton because he's just like kind of an all-around carpenter. So, he taught me how to tile. He taught me how to frame stuff, how to drywall, how to do all that stuff. I'm not interested in doing any of that stuff, and especially not drywall. That's for darn sure. And then I think the big turning point was because I don't know, you guys haven't known me long enough, but my Instagram used to be called the Riggs Ranch. And I started because I had a bunch of animals and I had some, I still have a little bit of property, but I had some property. I had some goats and my pig and, I had some chickens, and I decided to build a chicken coop for my chickens. And had I ever built a freestanding structure by myself? Nope. But I went to YouTube and I figured that out. So I built a chicken coop,
Good old YouTube
with
University.
like the little tray thing you could, gather the eggs from and all that good stuff. And I started building stuff for just my animals and my property. And then they kind of turned into like doing, slabs and doing other wood stuff, and then the wood burning. And then, just kind of went from there. It was a snowball.
So I got one question, and this will be it. I'll shut up after this. But what is your favorite project to undertake? Like, what's your favorite thing to build, if you could pick?
Anything for myself.
Okay.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
That's a horrible answer.
Yeah, you win.
Seriously though,
that's still a good answer.
And, when you're building stuff for other people, you're like, you look around your own house and you're like, God, I really want to do this. I really want to do that. I really want to do this. Like last summer, I built a woodshed. You guys can scroll back my Instagram and find that, but like, I loved it. It was cool. It was like, I finally took a second to build something for myself. And I kind of just really loved that. But if we're talking about working for other people or doing work for other people, I've really enjoyed doing tumblers. I really enjoy doing like CNC work, for signs and things like that, because it's just really easy with the CNC to customize stuff for people and have people be like, oh, can you do this? And it's like, yeah, I can totally do that. So
yeah, it's literally a click of a few buttons on a mouse, and you can pretty much have any design you want, depending on your bit situation. Now, do you have what kind of bits are you running? Are you running the Amana ones, or
I have a lot of Amana bits. I've been sent a few, so I mean, it just, yeah. Tools Today has been a really great company that I've worked with. And I will have a giveaway coming up soon with some bits included. So, but yeah, no, Tools Today has been great. I've loved all my Amana bits. I use their bits when I cut my old logo sign out of aluminum, and I only broke like 4.
Oh,
that's a good
that's.
I was learning feeds and speeds with aluminum, and it sucked. But
might have to pick your brain on that, because I'd rather not break 4 bits when I eventually get to that point.
It's painful. I save them too, because I feel like I have to look at them to keep myself honest and not get cocky.
Learning curve is expensive.
It is very expensive with CNC.
Yes.
All right, so no baloney time. How much money have you spent on router bits that you've broken? I'll go first. I've probably broken, I want to say about $600 or $700 worth of router bits on a CNC machine.
Oh wow!
Overtime. And that's because of my judgment and the material I was using. Like Jatoba is not friendly to router bits at all.
Very high.
Yeah, very high. Scale. What is that called? The Janky scale, or what is that? The
Jenka, I think. Yeah.
Janky scale.
Yeah. Janky, yeah.
But so the ones that I really hate breaking is like the 1/32 inch downcut bits. They're so fine at the tip, right? Just so little. And then, so you set your piece and you hit go, and it does the job. But by the time it's done running its tool pass, you look back and nothing's been done because the thing snapped off like right at the beginning. And now you got to go.
You didn't even know.
You gotta go back. You're like, oh, no wonder I couldn't hear anything milling out there. Yeah.
$37.
That's it? $37? Man.
I've only broken
I'll call bullshit on that.
Make that make 65. I broke a 1/32 bit. That was the first one I broke. This was on the Shipoko when I first started. I was like, oh, I could totally run this thing. And I don't know if I misclicked, but that thing went from 0 to 1,000 real quick, and it just went snap. I was like, no. And I was so pissed because I needed that bit to carve these little letters before I ever had the laser. And then the second one, and I taught to Cody from Cadence Manufacturing with the Jenny bits. So again, my own fault. My depth of cut, we'll just say it was a little too aggressive, and the feed was a little more aggressive, and it was like, snap, no noise. I was like, oh,
that's the worst.
No.
That is the worst sound, because you're like, me, nothing. And you're like, like my heart hurts right now.
Oh,
and my
no. How about this? When you're adjusting your Z height to start the carve, and you just dive that son of a gun right into the work surface and destroy the bit, and you're like, "Well, I didn't even start yet."
I can't say.
Yep, done that.
Or it hits a clamp.
I have a clamp, a blue. What is the blue one? Anyways, I ran a bit straight through the top, and luckily it was plastic. It was an Irwin clamp. But I still have that clamp. It still works, sort of.
Sorta?
Yeah. It literally, there's, a whole chunk taken out of the top of it. And I was like, ugh! Okay, we're good. We're fine. Keep going. Nobody saw that. Sorry, Josh. You go.
Oh, no, you're good. Probably close to 250, 300. So again, when I first started, I didn't do slow and steady. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I would break a bit here and there. I dived a couple into the spoil board because of thinking I understand the program and how I operated. I was trying to cheat the system a little bit, and it took away some bits on there. And then like just wear and tear sometimes. Long carves, small bits, sometimes don't always work out. So that's just one of those things. Like, you ever use a 1/16 or anything small like that, you got to make sure you go really slow and know what you're doing, because that's what my machine came with. I bought a whole bunch of things from Inventables, and they're not the best bits, and I'm glad
they're straight trash, bro.
No
lie. The Inventables bits are straight trash.
I broke so many of those. I still have some I didn't never use. I just used the 1/16 the other day, and it survived, but I was impressed that it did. But
at the end, it's like survive.
Yeah, pretty much. But you, Jesse?
Yeah. So how many bits have you broken, Jesse?
If you had to put a dollar amount on it.
Well, I feel
She's
like
like,
the aluminum bits that I was using were probably $35-ish a piece, something like that. And I probably broke 5 of them, at least. And then I think I've broken 1 working on wood. So, I don't know, $200.
Probably close to 300.
$200-300, yeah.
Whew, I feel dumb now.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just
a lot of
kidding.
money,
It was
man.
only 2.
No, I'll tell you what though. The funny thing about like us and our machines is we don't expect, I mean, at least I didn't expect the amount of torque to come out of the machine I had until you broke the bits, and you're just like, ooh.
I will say some of those bits I broke, like what it did before it broke, was very impressive. Like, I wouldn't do it again, but like as it did, I'm like, oh, I didn't know it could do that.
Because it's not supposed to.
Exactly. Well, I mean, technically it's not supposed to. It was the bit that quit first, but I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. We'll never know.
At least your hold downs were good.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what's going on in the rest of y'all's shops tonight?
Josh?
Josh, Nap, Josh?
I'll go. I got to do some rotary work. I had someone stop by, 3 water bottles for the kids for school. A little bit more nervous when people start paying for them now, because you can't really mess up, and I don't have any spares. So, but I went through my steps. I did everything I was supposed to do. They came out great. There was nothing really too complicated. Like I said, they were just names, and they were going lengthwise, so it wasn't all that bad. I did some practicing with it, and did some more elaborate carves with it, just to kind of get a feel for it. And I 3D printed some parts for it, so I'm not using necessarily a race bag, but an actual arm that's spring-loaded down and has a gasket. I have not tried that out and see how that's going to work. I have a friend that's going to bring me in an old Yeti that's like being thrown out anyway, and I'm going to try it on there. And if it works, I know a couple people with the same setup that might want that, so I might send that out to them. But that would be easy fix for the particular rotary I have. And that being said, I also figured out easy way to manipulate the chrome tray while in the laser to allow for not removing it and having to use the rotary. So basically, I just slide it where the pass-through is. It fits fairly well enough, and then I'm able to move the couple of rails, some plywood down there, and it works fine. It takes like 3 seconds to actually set up now, and it really helps. So that's that part of the shop. Moving on to the projects, I had 2 1/74th hammers to complete. Almost done with those. I also have a noodle board I'm getting knocked out real quick. And then over the weekend, I got to both use the CNC and engrave the stock of rifle that's being bought for not a going away gift, a thank you gift from someone that's leaving the squadron to our commander. And that was pretty cool. I got to work with a really great individual in the shop. He stayed the entire time while doing it. We talked, went back and forth on what he wanted, and got it dialed in, which I forget sometimes when we do things in the shop and how we do things. The customer doesn't see the process. Like they're never really there while you're doing it, or, like as you're doing it, you're questioning something or whatnot. And with having someone there watching you actually work, run the CNC, the laser, set up these things, it was a little nerve wracking. Because like he wasn't sure if he wanted it engraved or carved like on the CNC or stuff like that. And I had to talk him through it, and then like I set up the CNC because he wanted it carved, and then last minute he was like, "Oh, I want it engraved." And these things were because he didn't really know, and I'm realizing quickly that when you ask someone carved or engraved, they don't understand the difference. So that's something I think I'm gonna add to my website is like a picture of both. So that way I can, utilize that and show people exactly what the difference is right away. And same with like engraving in different types of wood. That way they can see the difference and how that pans out. Other than that, the shop for the most part will be closing down next week. We're going to my camp upstate and we're going to spend a week in the woods fishing, having a good time, bonfires, s'mores, the whole 9 yards. Disconnected from everything, which is going to be nice. It's been a while since we were able to do that. Hopefully we can still do that. Work's been picking up at a steady pace, so we've been we'll leave that out there. But that's about it. Knocked out some projects, delivered them. I can't remember if I talked about it last week, but the crystal ball holder that I did was first of all, I had an idea. I wasn't sure it was going to work, and it was a one chance thing. I was only allowed one coin, and they said if I messed it up, I wasn't going to get a new one. And I nailed it. Like the picture that was taken of the crystal ball looking down at the coin wasn't all the best, but like seeing it in person, it was like spot on, dead center, straight down. And the whole theory behind that, if you saw my post, was it was for Intel troop, which basically intelligence, they look at future what's going on and maybe future events, what could happen. And they were leaving, and they wanted a crystal ball for that reason. And the commander really wanted the squadron patch on there, and I didn't want to put it on the bottom because that you can't really see it. They didn't want the base very big, and they wanted a lot of verbiage. And I'm like, hey, let's put a coin down here so when he looks down, he can see his past, and when he looks through it, see his future. And I ran with it, and when I delivered it, they were very happy with it. So, you got to take some risk to get some rewards, but that's about it. Everything else.
Gotta risk it for the biscuit, right?
Yeah, it's like that shovel. If you saw that reel I did, that was risky. I was waiting for that to move while actually getting engraved, and because of Nap's idea with the magnets and the wood, I was able to put them around the actual head, and it held it in place, no issues whatsoever. I'm not going to lie, I did use more power than I needed because I was not going to do that twice. That was going to be a one-time go. The entire time it was carving, I pretty much watched it because I was waiting for it to fall or something because it was pretty sketchy. But it might have been an interesting week as far as trying new techniques and new stuff. But everything basically turned out for the best. And then with that, I'm getting a little bit more into what's coming up. I've come up with some ideas I'm going to start experimenting with. And it's not medium that we haven't messed with yet. It's stuff that we have, but in different ways. And hopefully, it's going to go over well. But we'll see. So that wraps up my shop. Nap, let's see what's going on in yours. Because I know Nick, he has something huge
I don't know
in his shop.
Yeah, we'll save the best for last because there's something huge at his front door. It's a hashtag CNC Pornhub, but so all right, lots going on. We'll start with life. I'm on 12-hour shifts this week. It's not fun, so shop time is pretty much null and void. I'll have like an hour or two before I crash out because really my days start at 4:30 in the morning when I wake up for the gym. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty tired right now. So yeah, just got a lot on the plate with that. More and more responsibility just keeps making it my way, but that's fine. I guess that's what I signed up for. Then getting into the shop. So this weekend was super successful. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I don't have like 15 people asking me for like last minute jobs and I'm freaking hustling and then, messing things up and having to redo things or freaking out when I miss laser or something, or I don't know what it is, but I had a task that I wanted to complete, just one of which to complete by Monday. I completed 3. So I was able to complete a beer mug, laser etching with 4 coasters and all the works with that. That got packaged up in about a day. And then I had an interesting request, not for my favorite football team, or college, I should say, but it was an Alabama A with like a blue rope around it for the Master Military Training Instructors in San Antonio. What's up, Nick?
Row Tide.
No. Go blue. Anyways, but so I did that, and it was an interesting request because I'd never actually mounted a picture on a project the way I did. I was kind of actually I have, but this is the first time I've done it in this manner. I went a lot smoother than I anticipated, and I got this thing set up. It was like a 14x9 plaque of wood with the engraving epoxied. You all probably saw the video of me epoxying it with the eye candy pigments and Totalboat epoxy. Put it together, got it sent out or finished Sunday night and packaged. And then, of course, the big project, the 18.5-hour carve that I think I talked a little bit about last podcast with the Office Special Investigations 3D carve that I did. That made its way out. The shadow box, I think the hardest part about that after the carve was the stupid frame, just because I had to use weird angles to do the rounded portions on the corners, bottom corners, and then flatten it out, make sure it was all even. So when I cut the backer board, it was spot on. Because had I made it misshapen, it would have been really odd backer board for the shadow box itself. I overpacked that, learning from Nick's lessons in UPS and them liking to drop kick things off the back of their truck. I went ahead and overpacked that thing with the big bubble wrap types. I also used, so Walmart has a pretty solid box. Now I typically go with Uline, but I of course procrastinated in finding a box and put myself in a little bit of a pinch. But I went to Walmart and they had like a TV / computer / like art picture frame type box. Pulls out one side, it's just an open box and it slides together. Well, it came with 4 edge protectors. It came with the that like I want to say like foam pouch. It's like the sheeting pouch. You should put it in there, you fold it over, tape it, whatever. So I overprotected this thing and like I said, bubble wrapped everything. Did the shake test. I had them put fragile stickers and do not stack stickers all over the damn thing. So it made its way out too. So 3 packages out on a Monday, which is honestly, I didn't think the shipping would go as smooth as it did. And on that, I've streamlined my shipping logo process or label process. I got this thing. It's called the ID PRT label printer. I got it off Amazon. It's night and day difference. I literally just go on Adobe, do the whole thing, print it, and it just shoves the label out. And I'm like, oh, that's way easier. Stacked it on there, and it was good to go. So that was with those projects. I have another project. It's the military heritage boards I've been talking about. I'm finally going to start those because those didn't have a time limit. This guy had a retirement that this needed to be there by the 1st of September. Well, it's only the 23rd of August, so I was way ahead of schedule there. It'll arrive to them probably Friday. But I'm going to start those boards probably sometime tomorrow evening because I just got to panel up some stuff, some cherry to be specific, and then get started on those. My Air Force Ball glasses job took an extreme halt. I'm a little upset about it because they decided that, oh, hey, we used the wrong image on these glasses, and I had etched 2 full boxes of them. And by full boxes, it's these 12 to 48. So 48 times 2, 96? Yeah, 96 glasses etched.
Curious.
And I was like, you're kidding me,
Did you
right?
charge them still?
Yeah.
Oh no! I'm still getting my money. That's still there, but they got to give me a new logo. Yeah, right.
That does not.
They got to give me a new logo. Oh no, it wasn't. Not nearly at all my fault, and they know it. But the person that made the design originally is on leave, so we're waiting for them. But the event was pushed back to the 29th of October, so I have plenty of time. But it's the fact of I just spent all this time putting it in Lightburn, getting everything designed, made it look good, and now I got to start over. I was like, you mother I couldn't say that because, the people in the room have a little more of that rank, if you will, than I do. So I couldn't really voice my opinions. I did say I was a little bitter, though, that they waited until now to tell me.
Could have said Naps Naughty
So there's
Works.
that.
Naps Naughty Works official response as the LLC is you. I was playing.
But no, at the end of the day, they're still going to pay me, the money. You got to get some new glasses. They want at least 400. So I got to get another box of those things in to fulfill the 400 order. Let's see. I'm getting tagged with these shadow boxes now. So big surprise, big shocker is that 3D badge, it's a hit. So there's other career fields that want me to 3D vectorize their image and make a 3D shadow box. So that's going to happen. And to be fair, when we talked last about readjusting my price, yes, my price has gone up exponentially. The customer even knows it went up, but I gave them a discount because of the fact that I was not going to give them the price that would have actually been after I told them another price. But they did pay a little bit more, and they had no problem with it. They were like, yeah, no, we get it, dude. Like, I was like, sweet, you're the easiest customer I've ever dealt with. So there's that. What else we got going on? Just looking around. Yeah, no, that's about all the projects I got right now that I finished and are in work with. However, I do want to make a note because I did do my Totalboat order. I got my high performance epoxy, but there's one thing I got that I haven't gotten to try yet, and I cannot wait to try it. And I got the big bottle because I saw Josh had the little bottle. He's like, I need more. Is that UV clear resin stuff. So I guess you just, put it in the void and you hit it with this little UV light and it cures. So I'm going to give it a go, see how it works.
Get a better light, man. So that little UV light works fine, but there are cheap ones on Amazon that are more powerful and it will take less time. And you're going to thank yourself later.
I just got one that's like, instead of this big, it's like this big because the kids want to play with like the glow in the dark epoxy from Black Diamond Pigments.
She wins, man. She wins.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like, it's good. It's a lot bigger.
Well, that's good to know. Well, it's good to know because I have some glow in the dark stuff over here too that I've been dying to try. So maybe maybe I'll mess with something, make my kid a Jurassic Park sign or something,
or a Minecraft
use that stuff
something.
And just see.
How thick can you make that stuff?
I don't know.
What stuff?
Pretty thick. I've done a pocket recessed magnets, and it was whatever thickness the magnet was, and I used it like epoxy essentially, and it dried perfectly fine, enough to put on my laser and pull it off. So
I need to get it.
Matt Fulton, he goes, take it to the tanning salon. Yes, ma'am. I do want this slab in the to tan with me. That would be pretty funny, actually. But so shop updates because I talked about what I'm making. So my heater is getting the rest of the way installed this weekend, Saturday. Coordinated with my buddy across the street. We're going to get that all set up. And I'm going to do the one thing Jessie hates, and I'm pretty sure every person hates. I got to do some drywall. I'm not excited about it, but I got to do it. The winter is coming all too fast. It's already almost the end of August.
Winter's coming.
And then Matt also did put something on here that I almost did forget to talk about. So I guess it doesn't matter when you post a reel. It could just blow up one day. So I posted a reel back August 15th, I think. And it was with that Viking lore, real music. It was, I like it. It was cool. It seemed to be, appropriate. And all it was is me V-carving the numbers into that badge. It went from 3K views to, it's still climbing. So I'm going to see what it is now.
I'm looking.
And it's been climbing all day, and it's just weird. I'm at 33.6K.
That's awesome, dude.
And it was at 20K earlier this morning when I checked it. That's crazy. So if you haven't listened to the episode of Secret Sauce, you probably should listen to it because there's definitely some good information. Because that's all I've been doing is the stuff we've talked about on that episode, and I've got a lot of traction, and it's been pretty nice. I haven't had to try as hard as I thought I was going to. And getting a little bit of more of a followership, which has been pretty cool. Even if they are from, across the way. I don't care. Follower's a follower.
Yes,
You know?
but you also have been being a lot more consistent because you were kind of in a slump when you were packing up and trying to move and doing all of that stuff. You weren't posting a whole lot. So you've been a lot more consistent lately than you were for quite a while. So I think
Yeah,
that does play a
factual.
little bit into it.
I think there's a lot to play in that kind of stuff. There's honestly, between stories, reels, tagging, hashtags, consistency, it all. I mean, like if you're just playing the game, you're gonna eventually hit something that works for you, and it could be different for each one. Like Naps, just said, time of day. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes it works for you for like 3 days, and then you post again, and it doesn't work at all. So Secret Sauce was definitely a good starter for that. But for your own profile, I think you're going to find something that works better for you than maybe Nick, Nap, and yourself. But you keep going, man. I hope that reached 1 million views by the end of the week.
I don't know if it's going to reach 1 million. I'm happy with what I got. Shoot. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'm hitting it big. I'm famous. But no, I did catch some shade for one of my reels. I don't know if it was shade or if it was just them being funny. But they go, yeah, post those photos. Because I put like Instagram says I got to make reels. So here's a photo as a reel.
I think that's awesome.
And someone put on there, yeah, keep posting those photos. I was like, yeah, totally going to post those photos. But it's whatever. I've been trying to get creative with the old reels. It's been fun. It's been more fun than I thought it was going to be. It's not as we'll say labor intensive as I thought it was going to be once upon a time. But I'm done talking. I talked too long. Nick, dude, what's going on in your shop other than hashtag CNC Pornhub?
So, yeah, speaking of pictures that are reels, I took a picture of all the boxes that were delivered to my house today, and I made it a reel. I put the intro to one of my favorite websites as the music, and so it's actually really funny if you watch it, because it's just a picture. But my Avid did get delivered, so I have it. It's in boxes now. Me and Jessie are like twinsies, except I got the 4x4.
What did you get?
The 4x4 Pro.
Yes.
Yeah, so I got the 3 horsepower spindle with the ATC as well, and the leg kit or the base kit for it, so it'll stand up, like it won't be sitting on the ground. I'm going to start building the legs soon. I don't know when, but I do have some good news for anybody listening to the podcast. I spoke with Daniel today from PWN CNC. And I asked him, I said, Daniel, pretty soon my X-Carve is going to be obsolete. What would you like to do with the spindle? Would you like me to send it back? Do you want to run a giveaway or whatnot? And he was like, let's do a giveaway. So coming shortly, it's going to be a spindle giveaway. It's a hand-me-down, but it's still in excellent condition. And you guys are going to get a chance to win it. We don't have any specifics on it yet, but I'm super excited. It's more like a giving back to you guys for supporting us. And other than that, though, I did get a new lumber rack today. So I have one with like 6 prongs on it to hold lumber. But with the amount of orders and everything I've got going on right now, I needed an extra few shelves. So I'm going to take my TV down. It's in my shop, throw that lumber rack up, and toss some lumber in there. It's going to be a good time. I've been pumping orders out left and right. If you check my Instagram, I've got pictures of them up there. A lot of acrylic, a lot of laser jobs, flags, and I've got, those. So you remember the American flag shadow boxes I make? They're the original. I designed them completely. They're original. No, I got the idea off Etsy. There's a guy on Etsy named Full Metal Jacket that makes those, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Let me make one. So I have 2 of those to make in the next 2 weeks and have them out. I don't know when I'm gonna have time to put the CNC machine together. So
that was my question. I was like, bro, like you've got all these orders. Maybe you should shut down or something for a week and set it up, send some orders, maybe Josh's way or maybe my way.
How long did it take you to put your CNC? How long did it take you to put your CNC together, Jesse?
I hate to say this, but I didn't actually put it together.
All right.
I wasn't even full sold on the CNC when we purchased it. So my ex put it together in about a week.
Okay. So it's doable.
So you need a week.
I mean, and he was working, and just doing that in the spare time kind of thing. But he's also got Asperger's and weird about stuff like that. So he hyperfixates, but he did get it together in about a week.
Okay. So it's doable. I really would like to take a week off of work at some point. It's probably going to have to be after 4 weeks from now, but I'll take a week off, just bear down, sweat my nuts off in the shop because it's literally 100 degrees out there every day or higher. So I've got fans going and all that stuff. Lately, actually, it's rained here quite a bit, so it's been cooler. But I mean, you can only count on that for every so often here in San Antonio. But other than that, though, that's really all I've got going on. I've been talking to Victor and Joey Steelblade quite a bit. I think I went live with Joey the other night, which was cool. In between, when I'm carving something and I have a roughing pass, I'll hop on Instagram. So that's when I usually do that. But that's all I really got, folks. I'm super excited. I've got my CNC. It's downstairs waiting in boxes for me. Then thank goodness. But all right. So I'm just gonna. I was asked today, what's the first thing I'm going to make with that?
What are you?
I am going to mill and make a Stepcraft Q series with my not playing. I'm totally playing.
Oh man!
God!
And that's shots fired. Anyway,
no. So okay, I'm gonna just put it here first. I'm gonna take bets. All right, I got a hundy saying it takes him about 3 weeks to put that damn thing together. Because he can be swamped with jobs. He's going to keep taking jobs. All that money, it comes in. He's like, nope.
Well, so you're right. You're right. I do have the Garrison Brother account now, so I have to worry about them. So I'm waiting on some stuff to come through from them, and then it's full force underway for their situation.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Nick, are you done with your shop? First of all, sorry.
Yeah, I'm finished. My bourbon collection isn't though. Everybody take a look.
Weird flex, but okay. He keeps changing the background like that. Like the shelf is it the same shelf, or did he just rearrange it?
I like to do it in height wise, but I'm not good.
Gotta go tallest in the center, and then it gets smaller as it goes out.
Yeah.
That's very OCD of you, but it does frame your face nicely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Liquor.
With liquor. I want to have my own man cave bourbon bar someday, so.
That'd be cool. I just have to say, I just appreciate you guys, and I think it's kind of cool, how you connect with different people on different levels, but I don't know how I've, intertwined with all of you in a certain way, and it's just, I don't know. It's cool. I like you guys. You guys are cool. You're helpful. You do good stuff for the community. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on, honestly, despite maybe the nerves a little bit. But, I mean, we're just here having a conversation. That's all this is about. I mean, we'll call 4 garage shop makers. I mean, you have an actual shop, but you said it wasn't that big. So you're still in the garage shop club.
Well, I don't have a garage, so it technically is my garage. It's just detached from my house.
Oh, okay.
So what's the dimensions?
What size is it?
It's basically a 2-car garage. That got closed in, and then one half I put a roll-up door in, and the other half now there's a man door. So
man door.
It's basically the size of a 2-car garage.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Cool.
Well, hell yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on.
We rolling this.
Yeah,
up?
we're gonna wrap it up. We're running on time now. But hey, so Jesse, thanks for coming on, and I'm gonna roll through the sponsors real quick. I would love to thank Totalboat for your continued support of the podcast. Like they just showed, there is that Totalboat. What is that called? what's the name of that?
The UV Cure Clear Resin.
UV Cure Clear Resin. Check them out, Totalboat.com for 10% off your Totalboat order. Go ahead and slide into the Sawdust Nation podcast DMs on Instagram or shoot us an email and we will get you that promo code. And we also want to thank a huge thank you to Daniel over at PWN CNC. This episode wouldn't be made possible unless Daniel was backing us. We love you guys over at PWN CNC, always making the good stuff for your aftermarket CNC parts. Check them out at pwncnc.com. And for 10% off your order at pwncnc.com, use promo code SawdustNation981. And that's off everything. That's not just a spindle kit or this or that. That's everything. So load up your cart. Put the Noah's Ark special in there, to everything. Use that promo code and save money. So you're actually losing money by not doing that right now. Anyway, last but not least, we want to thank our affiliates, OMTech. Thank you for being our friend. And we want to thank Makerstock.com. So Makerstock.com, if you want to get 10% off your initial order, use promo code Sawdust10. Yeah. So if you want 10% off your initial order at Makerstock, use promo code Sawdust10. And that's it for sponsors. I'm going to kick it on over to Nap.
Yeah, right? Oh, it's me. Yeah. Hey, so if you're listening to us on the old Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or any of those other podcast catchers, give us 5 stars. And if you don't give us 5 stars, you got to tell us why. Because if you don't tell us why, we really can't give you what you want, what you really, really want. And if you give us 5 stars, leave us some feedback anyways. Tell us what you liked about the podcast. And, if you have any other stuff you want to get a hold of us for, Josh, how do they do that?
Well, first of all, thank you, Jessie, for coming on. Check her page out, Building Jessie. Go on there, follow her journey. And as she mentioned, she's going to have some new stuff coming up. So you can't see that unless you follow. But with that, you can go ahead and message the Sawdust Nation podcast page. You never know who you're going to get, but that's half the fun. You listen to the podcast. If you know, you know. And you get a hold of Nick from MPG Creations, Nap from Nap's Nutty Works LLC, and Josh from North Country Woodworking. We're going to answer your questions, try to help out where we can. We may even ask you a question. Who knows? We definitely are learning with you. It's part of the charm, right? So with that, we have our Gmail account at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and hit us up with a voice clip. AJ, we have not forgot about your question. We will hit on that. Just we have to schedule it in.
We haven't forgotten about you. Don't you worry.
With that, send us a voice clip. We will get to your question when we can. And if you don't have Instagram, it's a good way to get a hold of us. And then we have the Patreon. If you're a Patreon in the 3rd tier, you get to listen to this raw and uncut. You can interact with us as we're actually recording, interact with our guests, and it just adds to the podcast 100%. I'm so glad that we started this up. Having our Patreons on and interacting, giving us topic ideas, and just laughing with us is beyond. It makes a podcast, I think. Anyway, with that, let's go ahead and toss it over to Jessie. Final words.
My final word. I thought I already said my final words. But I mean, I can say again how much I love you guys and how much I appreciate everything you guys do for the community. I appreciate you guys having me on. Even though this is, podcast numero uno for me. But I hope I did you guys proud. And yeah, I mean, I'll see you all around.
Of course.
Am I supposed to pass it on to...
Yeah, pass it over to you now. Thanks, Jessie. So hey, just like always, y'all, we're a community, and we're only as strong as strong as we are putting the information and helping each other out. I mean, if you don't help each other out, well, you can't make the community any stronger than what it is now. Don't be that person. Don't make everything proprietary. This isn't always about business. Okay, hey Nick, go ahead.
Thanks, Nap. Appreciate that. So, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, folks, love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably
Like, how do I follow this every week? Thank you for listening to the 113th episode. Thank you, Jessie, again for coming on. Hopefully you can listen to us while you're in the car, when you make coffee, while you're at work, while you're in the shop. We don't care where you listen as long as we can whisper in your ear, make you laugh and have a good time. Learn something maybe. With that, Sawdust Nation Podcast is signing off. Sawdust Nation out.
Okay, bye. See you later. Have a nice
Go make some
time.
sawdust, will you? Do something.
Yeah, come on. A lot of man glitter.